Breaking news happening right now on 12 News at 10 o'clock this Saturday night. A live look from Mesa as police on the scene of a two-car crash involving an officer. A live look at that scene as it is unfolding from an ADOT camera tonight. Right now, we are told that the west lanes of the Loop 202 at McDowell, part of those lanes shut down as officers try to piece this scene together. Here's what we know so far. Police telling us an officer finishing a traffic stop tonight when the driver of another car rear-ended the officer's patrol car. We're told that driver taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Tonight, that officer being treated for a possible concussion. So far, there's no word on if impairment played a factor in this crash. We'll continue to monitor the scene for you and bring you any new updates as soon as we get them. Meanwhile, developing tonight, a 2-year-old child rushed to the hospital after being pulled from a pool at a Chandler apartment complex this evening. This scene happening near the Loop 101 and Ray Road. Just before coming on air tonight, police say they do not have an update on that child's condition. We'll be staying in contact with police throughout the night to learn more details. Watch for updates at 12news.com. We'll have the very latest for you tomorrow morning on Today in AZ starting at 8:30. Since we last saw you tonight on 12 News at 6 o'clock, we have learned that dive teams have suspended their search for the night for a man missing at Lake Pleasant. According to the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, that man jumping into the water from a boat this afternoon to try to get a hat. Deputies say that man went underwater and did not resurface. Deputies also say that man was not wearing a life jacket. A special gathering today to remember a high school basketball coach killed in a car crash earlier this week. Tonight, 12 News journalist Jade Cunningham talking with folks who say they knew Mike Taylor and say that his passing is a loss for everyone.
Tears fell Saturday.
What a selfless character that he was.
As students, their families, and staff at Mesquite High School remembered.
He was just one of those souls that walked in the room and you couldn't help but smile.
Mike Taylor was the freshman and JV basketball coach, but last Monday,
It's really difficult.
he was coming back from a California basketball tournament when he was killed in a car crash on I-10 in Goodyear.
It's something that I don't think has fully sunk in.
Unfortunately, I had some of his players in my class. We just took the day to respect him because there was no just pushing through. He deserved that. The students deserved that. And every one of them that needed a hug got a hug. Because we all needed one.
Kim Hansen is the school's head athletic trainer. She says Coach Mike was always upbeat, smiling, and treated his students like family.
He knew how to interact and how to approach things and make them feel comfortable without feeling intimidated. And I think that that's a very rare quality. And he genuinely got their respect.
For others, it was Coach's dedication, kindness, and zest for life they'll cherish.
This was a positive influence. This was a positive person who could reach him, and I'm proud to have known him for the time that I have. And I really, truly hope that the community sees what a great man he was.
And as his family in blue pushes on,
His kids need to know that the impact he's had on them is going to last a lifetime. So even though that he's gone, he's going to live on with them.
forever in their hearts, forever in their smiles. Jay Cunningham, 12 News.
New at 10 o'clock tonight, fire crews say they have stopped forward progress on a fire that's burning in the Tonto National Forest. The U.S. Forest Service says that the sugar fire, scorching some 240 acres, it is said to be 30% contained. Right now, crews are still fighting the blaze from the air and on the ground. Officials say the fire started on the road leading to Sugarloaf and then crossed over the road. Tonight, campers being advised to stay away from that area for the time being. Meanwhile, in Cave Creek, fire crews there monitoring hot spots after an afternoon brush fire forced evacuations. We're told this fire scorching some 5 acres. No homes, though, were impacted. Right now, the cause of this fire tonight is still under investigation. Let's take a break from the headlines to talk about weather, which will be a big story as we move into the rest of the weekend. Meteorologist Ginger Jeffries here to get you ready for the start of your Sunday. Hey, Ginger.
Hey, well, there's a major fire concern. In fact, National Weather Service posting a red flag warning for the southeastern tier of the state. This area is in pink. That means it's going to be dry and it is going to be windy. We also have a high wind advisory for these areas that you can see in tan stretching over into California. But the most significant of the advisories right here, all the orange that you see, that is a high wind warning. This is going to go through 10 o'clock tomorrow. And wind gusts, folks, in the higher elevations are going to potentially get up to about 60 miles an hour tomorrow. For the valley, southwest winds 15 to 20 miles an hour with gusts of up to 30 miles an hour. But again, our big concern, that area in orange that you saw, the high wind warning. Southwest winds sustained 30 to 40 miles an hour and gust potentials upwards of 65 miles an hour. Current winds right now in rim country and high country, nothing over about 15 miles an hour. The reason for the wind right here, follow along. Futurecast data shows on Sunday, here we go, a cold front is going to basically be sweeping through the northern tier of the state. That's going to give us some very isolated showers, but as that gets closer, the pressure gradient's going to tighten up, and of course, we're a natural wind tunnel, so we're talking about winds. What will that mean for the bottom line? We'll talk about that coming up in my full forecast. Jonathan.
All right, Ginger, we'll see you in a few minutes. Thanks. Tonight at 10 o'clock, a K-9 with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office has died. The Sheriff's Office telling us that Kimbo found earlier this week unresponsive in his kennel, taken to the vet. They say that the 4-year-old Belgian Malinois died from bloat. Kimbo, we're told, helped in SWAT missions along with other details. They're asking that in lieu of flowers to help donate to the K-9 unit, which will then use those donations to buy vests for future dogs. A disturbing discovery in Mexico after the bodies of 3 people were found inside of a well. Earlier this week, authorities reported 3 surfers, 2 Australians and 1 American, disappeared in that same area after their families reported them missing. A 4th body was also found near the other 3, but officials say it appears to have been there for a longer time. Right now, authorities not confirming if the bodies found yesterday are indeed those of the surfers. But tonight, the U.S. State Department says that they are closely monitoring the situation. Pro-Palestinian protests continuing on college campuses all across America this weekend. At the University of Virginia, at least 25 protesters were arrested as state police worked to clear encampments on the campus. At the University of Michigan, protesters interrupting commencement ceremonies today. The protesters removed shortly afterward, but right now it's unclear if anyone was arrested or detained. Today's protest taking place just one day after protesters also interrupted the University School of Music's theater and dance commencement ceremonies as well. Back here at home today, marking 1 week since 72 protesters were arrested on the campus of Arizona State University in Tempe. 12 News, the only station here in the Valley, bringing you live breaking news coverage of those arrests as they unfolded last weekend. Earlier this week, Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell says her office has yet to receive charges from ASU, but she has been briefed on the arrest.
At this point, we have not received any submittals from ASU for those cases, so no one from this office has had a chance to review the full reports.
Mitchell says that she will be looking at each case individually to decide what charges could be filed once she does receive those reports from ASU. Tonight in a 12 News exclusive, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen getting a first-hand look at a Mesa Community College program that's training tech workers. It's part of a 2-day stop here in the Grand Canyon State to promote the Biden administration's economic agenda. Yellen's seeing some of that new skills training programs that aim to help fill Arizona jobs created by President Joe Biden's CHIPS Act. Semiconductor plants here in the Valley are receiving billions of dollars in federal dollars to expand. But despite low unemployment and rising wages, voters give Biden lower marks than Donald Trump when it comes to the economy. 12 News political journalist Bram Resnick, the only local reporter to talk with her. During their interview, Yellen defended Biden's record but acknowledged the impact of rising inflation.
The level of prices is almost 20% higher than pre-pandemic, and people really notice that when you go to buy a gallon of milk or a loaf of bread, it costs more than it did. You know, according to the government's calculations and statistics, wages have gone up more than prices, so people are actually better off, but it is very noticeable.
The U.S. Labor Department says that the inflation rate in the Phoenix area has plunged from a peak of 13% in August of 2022 down to just 2.2% in February of this year. That's 1 point below the national rate. Happening tonight, the 70th annual Black and White Ball taking place. This year's theme, Noche de Novelas, awards given for 6 different categories, including Woman of the Year and Man of the Year. Hey, we know some of those folks. Several members of the 12 News team in their best, including Allison Rodriguez, Caribe Devine, and Vanessa Ramirez on hand for the event. Governor Katie Hobbs also speaking. The event, the largest annual fundraiser for the Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.